Greetings, Coincall family. Today is November 1st, 2024, and today I'm going to record a pre-election video for those of you participating in these markets before the election. Quite a lot has happened since the last video, and I'm going to do a little bit of a freestyle today and just kind of cover a few things leading up into the election, my thoughts on how to trade it, and yeah, like I didn't really prepare anything today, but I know that's quite important next week, and really November is very important. So, at the time of recording, we're at 71.1K. It's Friday. We just had the unemployment come in line at 4.1%, so the market kind of liked that. Kind of had some de-risking price action yesterday. Overnight, Asia and Europe kind of bottomed it out, and then upon the data prints, we had a nice move up here right before the weekend. So in my last video, I told you that the last 2 weeks of October was the most uncertain, and I wasn't really confident in making any forecasts because quite literally, anything could happen. And what really happened is that, the market saw the odds of Trump on Polymarket increase and really started pricing in a Trump win. So this market is telling us that it likes the idea of a Trump win, and that's obvious because he's a pro-crypto candidate, and he's made his intentions very clear on, what he plans to do with crypto regulations, and maybe that helps the altcoin market. Um, Usually before the election, you see, de-risking price action, and perhaps that's what happened on Thursday, on Halloween, October 31st. And, what happens over the weekend or on Monday, potentially we get another de-risk before the actual election. Um, I'm personally waiting for November 5th to pass. And I'm not going to be really trading it. There's a couple of trades that I did when I shared on my Twitter. Hopefully some of you guys liked it. I liked my own post, as you can see, because I like the idea so much. But basically on October 23rd, we saw, Bitcoin go down, and the 100K call option fell about 50% from $1,100 up here to $550 down here. And that was a long, in my opinion. So if you caught that move, congrats, because that $550 was almost the bottom, but basically doubled in 6 days. So that was my main trade. So hopefully you caught that. Um, and right now, the other trade that I'm thinking about, uh, if you're not in one, is we have a kink in the volatility curve for um, Bitcoin. So, sorry, the term structure. So let me just show you what I mean here. So there's a kink right here for the November 8th strike, and that's pretty obvious because there's the elections. And an idea that I like is to sell a 73 or 74K call option around that strike, just around all-time highs. Um, and then to long like a November or December 74K, 75K call option. So same strike, um, short November and then long November 8th, and then long either November end of month if you're very aggressive, or if you're more conservative like I am, December makes more sense because you have more time to play out the election. Because what if it's delayed? This is a very tight race, so there's a chance that the election results are delayed, and you don't really get to see how the market responds to either a Trump win or a Kamala win until, 1 week after November 5th, which would be November 12th, which is like, I guess my worst case scenario is like we learn the results November 12th. Not too many people are talking about that, but it is a very close race, even though Polymarket shows Trump as winning. Traditional methods of polling show that it's a much closer race than what betting markets like Polymarket are pricing in. So something to keep in mind, might be more prudent to pay for more theta, which is why I'm opting for, short November 8th and then long December month end. Again, that would be like short 75 November 8th and then long 75K call December. I think that's an appropriate way to finance and cheapen up the long position. I think the last time I checked on Coincall, I don't have it up. Apologies again, I didn't prepare for this, but the last time I checked on Coincall, if you did something like that, it would basically give you a 40% off or 36% off um, position for your December long haul. So that's almost 50% off, right? Like that's almost half off. If you saw your favorite pair of sneakers, your favorite pair of shoes, or your favorite, um, I don't know, clothing brand 50% off, I'm sure you would be interested in potentially buying something like that. So that's how I think about it for options. And certainly I'm going to be putting that on. I already have been building position. I'll probably finish it off now that we're pretty much towards the end of the week. I wanted to see how this week closed on Friday. Um, and I think this bounce up potentially could get sold down. Again, I'm not sure because this is anyone's guess at this point. Maybe we de-risk again. I'm not sure why my marker's not working. But maybe we de-risk again before the elections and then come back up and then it's sell the news and then you buy it again. So I'm not really confident in making predictions. All I know is this market seems like it wants a Trump win and it tends to go up when Trump's odds are increasing. So perhaps that's what the crypto market needs, and that's what the altcoin market needs for you know altcoins to bottom out because altcoins have been bleeding against Bitcoin. Now let me just show you some charts for the altcoins. So that's the option side. So I'm gonna be. Why aren't my charts working? Is it because I'm in? Maybe because I'm in the browser. All right. If it doesn't load, I should have prepared more. But essentially, okay. I'm not gonna try to break this. Oh, maybe it is loading now. Okay. It loaded some other stuff here. So let me try to just zoom in on this, clear out some of these, and show you what I mean by when will altcoins bottom? Because I think we're very close to a full capitulation of altcoins, and TIA is a very good example. So TIA, this is TIA from November 23rd all the way to current day, and I think we're very close to bottoming out here. Maybe a couple more weeks, potentially into the end of the year. Worst case scenario is my thinking. But a lot of these things have just bled out against Bitcoin. Like if you just held Bitcoin, you outperformed everyone. And if you held altcoins like TIA, obviously you did not do very well this year. So, I like looking at these charts because if you play a mean reversion bounce, um, and you're long a TIA perp, for example, a mean reversion bounce against Bitcoin, and maybe this doesn't happen until next year, first quarter of 2025 and mid 2025 or sometime next year, that's you're talking about a 300% move, and that's just mean reversion, right? Because this thing against Bitcoin is like basically retraced all the way back for like the whole year. It's October 2023 and it's November 2023 now. I mean 2024 now. So I think we're very, very close into painting some of these bottoms here. Um, and one thing I'm looking forward to that's not the U.S. election. I think it's the U.S. elections is very important. Don't get me wrong, but I think other macro data is also important. And November 7th, we have a potential 25 bips rate cut, which I think we're going to get is 25 bips. The market's certainly pricing that in now. Um, and also with today's labor market data and unemployment data, it does make sense to potentially keep the cutting cycle going. I'm not really on the side of a 50 bips cut, but I think the market would like that. But the market on September 18th had its first rate cut. Okay, September 18th we had our first rate cut. Now take a look at what TIA did against Bitcoin on September 18th. So this is September 18th right here. There was a nice period of time when actually TIA had some momentum going into this, and the days leading up into the rate cut, TIA started bottoming out too. So maybe the rate cuts are a catalyst for alts to see some maybe short-term couple weeks of outperformance. Let's just say people were trying to front run it a few days, like 5 days. Let's say you were trying to front run the rate cut 5 days before because you thought that you know we're going to have a rate cut September 18th, in which we did. We cut 50 bips. So if you front run it 5 days before, um, you would have caught a nice 50% move against Bitcoin, right? Over, that was September 18th, and well, technically, if you front run it a little bit, the 14th to the 25th. So you had basically 2 weeks of outperformance. That's 10 days, 5 trading days each. Well, if you count the weekends, it's 14 days, but some people don't count that in trading. But you get the idea. So let's say we try to front run it again. So 5 days before, that's really tomorrow, and then the rate cut decision is on the 7th. That's 2 days after the election. So you position somewhat on a Saturday, but I kind of don't like that idea. I kind of like positioning more on the 5th during the elections. And then you have 2 weeks of outperformance. Now, I'm not saying that this is guaranteed to happen, but maybe something that we can check into, right? That's 10 days. So maybe you get another 50% move. But still, like, it's not making higher highs against Bitcoin. These are just lower highs. So maybe you get that 2 week trade, but the real question is when do they bottom? So another thing that I'm thinking about for anyone trading altcoins is BTC dominance. Um, I'm looking at BTC dominance, and this thing is hard to call top on, but I'll give it a try. So my thinking is, we're at 60% now, and I think dominance could potentially top somewhere here, between 60 and 65. So, until dominance tops and we see significant profit taking from Bitcoin, I have a feeling alts are going to have a hard time making highs against Bitcoin, which is why you've seen them bleeding all year. Um, So until this makes a very, very highly convicting move downwards, the only altcoin um, outperformance you're going to see is going to be temporarily lived. So November 18th was right here, right? And BTC Dom went down to, it's almost 3%. Let's just round it. So 3% down from the, call it 18th of September to it bottomed 1st of October, okay? So let's take a look at some favorite altcoins. So on the 18th of September, and this is on the USD pair, right? So most people are accustomed to this. 18th of September is right here, right? So that was the USD pair bottom. And then we went all the way until, what was it, October 1st, I believe. So this is October 1st. That's an 80% move, right? So you see why I think it's important to track this. So let me just make sure I got the dates right. September 18th, October 1st. That's when BTC Dom did a local top, right? So that's just a local top. Imagine what happens when BTC Dom actually tops, right? And then of course you had this continuation move. But now it seems like we're on a downtrend against Bitcoin. Perhaps Bitcoin is going to suck the liquidity out of altcoins on its next run up, and maybe that next run up is a several week process. And you know, and some people think the election catalyst is going to be the catalyst that drives Bitcoin to 80,000 to 100,000 by in a year. So you see how this is all kind of coming together. So I'm trying to it's very hard to time the market, but I'm going to try to. Um, but maybe this continues, right? So let's say November is the catalyst for Bitcoin to go to 80,000, 100,000 into like December or something. And then we get the top. And maybe you get the occasional 2% in between here, but you're never going to outperform Bitcoin, really, unless it's like the 2 week period. But look, even with retraced, it's retracing right now. It's retracing the entire September 18th, not the entire move, but a significant portion of it, right? So we're almost retraced we did at one point retrace 50% of the move right here, which is around 220, um, which in my opinion is not amazing, but at least it's not giving everything back. So potentially it bottomed on USD pair. But hopefully that makes sense of what I'm trying to say. So um, November 7th is coming up. BTC Dom maybe tops out in later this year, like December is what I want to say. And that is the time to rotate into altcoins. Um, that's just a thought. I'm just trying to put some thoughts together here because I know everyone wants their altcoin season. I want to talk about options first on the stream. The elections, I think, is going to be the sell the news, and then a trade idea is to buy the sell the news on any candidate. It should sell the news. Um, but yeah, it's going to be very volatile. So if you're on your screens a lot, it might help you. If you're kind of like part-timing trading, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I still think shorting the vol spike November 8th makes sense to finance a long call position in December for Bitcoin. That's the trade that makes the most sense. Again, we'll probably revisit that towards mid-November, end of November to see how that pans out. But that's something I'm personally putting on. Again, this is not financial advice, but it's just a trade that makes the most sense to me. And then for the altcoins, I went over my thoughts here. Like um, they've been for the most part bleeding against Bitcoin, and you really have to pick the handful 1 to 5 altcoins that are doing well against Bitcoin. Um, so yeah, like that's my thoughts for now. I hope you got some value out of that. I kind of did this video on the fly before the elections. So, anyways, cheers, take care. Thanks for watching. Um, by the way, if you did not listen to the Coincall Twitter spaces that we had about the elections, I think that's also great to hear about some fantastic views and opinions on the market from veteran traders. So please, if you haven't, go to Coincall's Twitter and you'll see the Twitter space there. Um, and you'll get some more election trade ideas for Bitcoin. Okay, anyways, take care, have a nice weekend, and I'll see you all in the next video in about 2 weeks. Cheers.